So good afternoon, everybody. Really warm welcome to all of you. And it's a beautiful day today. So I'm impressed that you've come indoors to actually to join us. And it's delightful to see all of you. I have a great pleasure today to interview Jodie. I've actually met Jodie in person when, and I can't remember what year it was it 2017? We went over to the States because we were featured, we were in the Oscars, that's not true. We had goodies in the goodie bags at the Oscars. So we went over there for a week and had the most surreal and amazing time. And part of that surreal and amazing time was meeting Jodie on a sort of video fashion shoot in which we were strutting along a street in downtown LA. It was sort of sandwiched between I think it could have been some kind of sex club and another quite dubious premises. So we were striding down the street. It just rained really heavily, I seem to remember, and then it stopped. So it was weird. It was a weird experience, but I met Jodie and I thought she was lovely. So we have great pleasure in welcoming her today. So Jodie has this style blog I thought you'd all be very interested to hear about. So Jodie, let's start off a very simple question. Tell us a little bit where you live in the States and also what kind of climate and lifestyle you have and all that kind of thing. So I think it'll be interesting to get some context for everybody watching.
So right now we live in a state called Arizona. It's in the southwest of the United States, between California and Texas, near the south. So it is usually in the summers over 100 degrees here. So that would be over 37 degrees Celsius for you guys, which is pretty hot, but it's also very dry here. It's a desert. So we don't have the humidity, which doesn't make it feel quite as hot, but it's hard on the skin.
And do you have that? So do you have hot weather all year round, or do you have any variety in your weather?
We do have variety. In the winter, I say it gets cold because anything under, the temperature you keep it in your house, anything under that, when it's that outside, to me is cold. So in our winter, I do wear jackets, I do have boots, but we don't get snow usually here. So.
Okay. All right. Well, as I said, I've just mentioned the weather here, which is a bit of a talking point for us at the moment. We've had the most dreadful spring and early summer, and it's obviously June the 1st today. And finally, at last, the sun has come out and there's some warmth in the sun. That's the most important thing. So it stopped raining, cats and dogs, which has been doing for the last, I don't know, month or so. So I'm sitting here just basking in the whole idea that we've suddenly got this wonderful summery weather, which is really nice. And it's a nice time to talk a little bit about summer clothes and summer styles and so on. So I'm really interested to know about your blog, because I think you started it about 6 years ago. So tell us a little bit about what your motivation was for starting this style blog.
Well, I had just retired. I was a cosmetic dentist, and I just retired. And that's when we were living in Colorado, which is a couple states north of where we are now. And my mom and my stepmom both lived very close to me. And I wanted to showcase kind of like how our video that we did together is that style is ageless, that just because you're getting older doesn't mean you can't look good or have fun with your clothes or try new things. And so that was the whole reasoning, so that I could include my mom and my stepmom at the time, to show how we all wear something pretty similar, but we actually wear it differently because we have different we have different body shapes, we have different likes and dislikes, and we're in different age groups. So you have different thoughts about how to style things.
Absolutely. So at the moment, your blog consists of, it's you, obviously, yes, Jodie, and you've got Charlotte and Leslie.
Charlotte's my mom. And then Leslie is my friend down here in Arizona. My stepmom didn't move when we moved. So, but I still have, it's still nice to have 3 different women to showcase.
Yeah, so you've got we didn't hear that. I think we had a bit of an interruption on the transmission. So we've got you, we've got Charlotte, who's your mum, and then we've got Leslie. So let's take each of those in turn, and because I want to know what the differences are really. So shall we start with Leslie? So describe Leslie to us, and you know, who is she in relationship to you? Is she just a friend?
So Leslie is a friend. I actually met her when we lived in Denver. She just was one of the readers of my blog, but then I met her at a store when we got together, and she had moved down here to Arizona right before us. So then I asked her to be part of the blog. She just turned 71, and her style tends to be very conservative. She's more of a little preppy, and likes certain things. She doesn't tend to try new things unless I twist her arm. And she has described her body as being zucchini shaped. But she always dresses with flair and always looks nice. You wouldn't realize, because your eye is always directed to either a beautiful scarf or some kind of flowy piece, or wonderful shoes. So it's a great example of, dressing for your body, but then putting the focus wherever you want it to be.
Yeah. So Leslie, she's I think a zucchini we call a courgette. Because I would thought you meant aubergine, but aubergine is an eggplant. So a zucchini, I think, is a courgette. So she's quite rounded, her body. She's quite ample. Yeah. And again, I like that about your blog, because you're not just catering to you're very slim yourself. You're very neat, you're very slim. You're all quite short, aren't you? You're all petite, like 5 foot. How tall are you? I'm
5'2". 5'2". But Leslie is 5 foot.
Yeah, so she's quite petite, but she has quite a rounded body, as I said, which I like about what you're doing. And then your mum, Charlotte, how old is she, and how would you describe her?
My mom is 83. And I would describe her, she always likes to be elegant. She grew up, with those fashion rules, and always wants to present herself very elegant. I have to twist her arm to wear sneakers much of the time, or trainers, I think, as you call them. Because many of the times we're taking photos, we're also exploring our area, so we need to be comfortable. But she always will, even at her age, she wears makeup pretty much every day, even when she doesn't leave the house. She just likes to look wonderful. And, of course, I learned that at a young age. So.
Yeah, you've obviously inherited a lot of her love for looking good and so on. So just give us a bit of a flavor of maybe some of the recent posts that you've done. How do you get those ideas? What do you do when you're creating a blog post?
I get a lot of ideas from readers who request. They will either in a comment, or they'll email me and ask, I'm having trouble styling scarves, or could you all style the same thing so we could see how you do it different? And we were shopping a couple months ago, and we all found this same tunic in different sizes. So each of us bought it, and then we each styled it differently on the blog, how we would. And sometimes I will try to add something different in, just so we don't all look the same, because since we hang around each other, we do tend to influence each other, and sometimes we'll wear the same things without realizing it. I also get ideas, what is trending, what is in style for us where we live right now. Because it's so hot, we tend to wear kimonos quite a bit, which is like almost a scarf that's more of a wrap, very lightweight, but it's a third piece, which adds interest to an outfit. We were talking about capri pants the other day. because, they just have such a stereotype of being frumpy, at least in the articles I read around here. And, it's really an essential when you're living someplace hot and you don't want to wear shorts. My mom is not comfortable wearing shorts, and yet she can still make her capri pants look very stylish. There's a lot more that goes into an outfit than just one piece. So
yeah, what would you say? So you've got 3 different decades. Is that right, in terms of age? So there's you, and there's Leslie, and then there's your mum. Yes. And you've got different decades, and you've got different shapes. Yes. So what would you say would be the differences between what you would wear and, say, what your mum would wear? So are you in your 50s or 60s?
I'm in my 50s, 55.
You're in your mid-50s, yeah.
Mid-50s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I have gotten more bold with my style. When I was working, I was much more conservative. But reading a bunch of blogs and being on Instagram, I have gotten more bold and colorful. And I think part of it's because I'm not as stressed from working, which I think shows up. I think what we wear really presents how we are, our personality. And so I know I've gotten more bold. My mom, though, as I was saying, is, always likes to be more elegant, and she tends to like to match things very, everything to each other. But she has evolved somewhat. She does an occasional print mixing, and she will bring in an extra color into her outfit. So, it's nice, because I do think we should evolve. We learn new things, which is good for our brain. And I think it's good if our style evolves somewhat too.
Yeah. Do you find with your mom, and perhaps with Leslie as well, as they're sort of 15, plus 20 plus years older than you, that they want to cover up more than you do?
Yes, absolutely. My mom, would not wear sleeveless anymore. In fact, she rarely wears short sleeves, which is why she likes like a kimono or something to cover. And I understand, I'm starting to get the crepey skin. So I do understand. I wish as a society we could really embrace and normalize some of those aging things and stop thinking of it as bad and ugly, because it really is part of life. And I know my husband says I'm swimming upstream when I talk like that, but it's terrible to hate your body. I feel like that's one of the things I really try to push on the blog is, learning to love our body. It's done so much for us. We are all unique. There is no one way to look. I just think that's very important, and it really helps your mindset and to feel better about yourself. If instead of me looking at my arm and thinking, oh, it's ugly, oh, it can do so much. And, that's how it's supposed to look at this age.
Yeah, I really, really agree with you. And it's something that I struggle with personally a lot. I've got to the point now where I really dislike showing my arms. I don't, my legs are a particular bane of my body. I'm fine. I'm pretty fine from the bit you can see, actually. My body is great from here up. That bit, but the rest of it, and it is conditioning, and it is, of course, this sense of the horror of aging flesh. It's quite pervasive within, I'm sure, American society. Certainly it's in our society as well. And it's, what do you do with that? Do you just say, to hell with it, I don't care, it's 37 degrees outside, I'll wear what I like? If you don't like my saggy, wrinkly arms, then I'm, well, so what? But at the same time, that self-consciousness, how do you get over that self-consciousness? I haven't managed to, square that circle. I really haven't. I'm still very self-conscious, and I wish I wasn't. I really do wish I wasn't. I'm also very interested in budget, because I think that's something that you also don't shy away from. One of the other things I like about your blog is that you do talk about well, I don't know what you would call it, thrift shopping. Yes. What's your approach to that? Looking good on a tight budget?
Well, My mom has always been very frugal. And so that, of course, is passed down to me, and Leslie is the same. So we do shop thrift stores. We call them thrift stores. I know some people call them charity shops, secondhand stores. And we also, buy sale things. We don't always go to those stores. But I do think, especially at this stage of the game, we are retired. It doesn't behoove me to pay a lot of money for some of the things, especially because I have so much that I don't wear them, every day. So one of the things I've learned with thrift or secondhand shopping is I can get colors that look good on me that maybe aren't in the brick and mortar stores. They're not in colors. So I have trouble finding them in regular stores. So I can find colors. I tend to be able to do that easier. And then my mom is a seamstress. She's a master seamstress. She used to be a home ec teacher, in fact. And so I have also learned finding things, whether at the secondhand stores or regular stores, that tailoring them, getting them to fit me is a huge factor in making things look good. So I can have something that's secondhand, but someone else would not know that because it fits me to a T. And styles come around anyway, or you can switch it up and change how it looks. So yes, so we are very budget oriented.
I think that ability to change clothes, to actually adapt clothes, change them. I mean, if your mum's good at that, then that's a huge advantage, an absolutely massive advantage. Let's just go back to the petite end of the range. So what do you think the key things are for dressing a body that is petite?
Well, having things fit, and being petite, you always read those articles, what not to wear and how to make yourself look taller. And I struggle with that idea of trying to look taller, because if you meet me in person, I am not going to surprise you. You're not going to think I'm tall. I'm obviously pretty darn short. And so I don't understand why we have been led to believe it's better to be tall and thin. Why is that such an important factor around society? Healthy to me is more important, and looking good, feeling good about ourselves. And so, when those rules come up about what not to wear when you're short, I tend to throw those out the window. I pretty much wear everything. I just try to make sure it fits me well. Even cropped pants, the new cropped pants that are coming out, but they cut you off in the middle of your leg. Well, so does a skirt. Yeah. So I guess I don't understand the difference between those. And why is it bad to look short? If I look short, I am short. So I've tried to get away from that. My mom tends to, she's of those days where you want to lengthen the leg line, and you hear it over and over. So I understand why we think that, but I'm not sure it helps us to try to do that. I think it stresses us out.
Now, I've got two extremely tall daughters. So my older daughter is 6'1", and the younger one is just about 6 foot. So whenever I'm walking with them, or I'm in a photograph with them, I look as though I'm tiny, with this tiny little woman with these two extremely, so that they, everybody assumes they're normal size, and I'm just a midget in between. So I can't win in that situation. But I think it's very interesting, the sort of difference in body shape and size in terms of tallness, because Anna has been, the older one, has been made to feel bad about being so tall for quite a lot of her life. Sure. Until she then accepted it and grew into it. And now I think she actually quite likes it. But it's really weird. And then if you're really short, then you're made to feel bad about being really short, and so on and so forth. It's like there is no ideal, is there? Right.
We're also unique. I think that's not always easy to embrace, because society, pushes this or that and makes fun of people who are not the same. But I think it's starting to turn.
Well, I hope so. The more we bang the drum for
Yes.
diversity and difference and the acceptability of all of that, whether it's age or color or shape or size or weight or any of those things, the better, really. And I think you're right. I think at least we're having the conversation about it now, which we weren't for quite a long time. What would you say is the essence of style to you? How would you sum that up from your perspective?
I really think it's about making it you. If you are someone who enjoys people and likes talking, you want to dress your style to look like that. Like wearing all black can kind of be a put off. It could almost be, at least in the United States, it's for funerals, it's somber. It could actually be kind of rebellious or mean. It depends on how you look at those things. So I think style is putting a little of you in everything, which is one reason why I love accessories, because sure, I could be wearing the same shirt that everyone else is wearing, but if I put on a scarf or some earrings, then I'm making it look more me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we had a bit of an earring conversation when we first saw each other this afternoon. A, we're both wearing blue, and B, we're both wearing, weird earrings, weird in a good way. You show quite a lot of earrings in the blogs that you do, and you're quite keen on them, aren't you, as an accessory, as I am. So tell us why earrings are so good.
Well, I love that nowadays, even the big earrings are lightweight. I think that's so important. I can't wear the heavy ones anymore. So it's nice that there are wonderful options out there. And it brings the focus to our face, unless you don't want the focus on your face. But I was telling Tricia earlier that, it's usually 100 degrees or 37 Celsius here every day in the summer. And so the last thing you want is a heavy necklace or a scarf as an extra accessory. So I do tend to go for the earrings. You can bring in some different colors, especially if a shirt isn't a great color for you. I can bring in a colorful earring instead. I do that with my glasses also. But I think they're a wonderful way. People tend to look at your face. And so it can even be a wonderful conversation starter. And that's why I love them.
Yeah, I think you're also a very good illustration of the fact that you can wear both glasses and earrings, and they can be quite bold. You've got quite bold glasses frames, they're a color, they're noticeable. You've also got earrings, bold and colorful earrings on, and it doesn't look ridiculous. It doesn't look overdone. It's very balanced. It's very pretty, and it's pretty and balanced because of the way that you've coordinated the color. And that's the key thing, isn't it? You're not trying to shout too many messages with what you're wearing. The whole thing works together beautifully.
And it's fun. I feel like we need to have a little more fun. When we used to think about those rules, oh, can I wear this with this? It makes you think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. Are people going to laugh and stare? And sometimes you have to just say, okay, I like this. I like how this looks together. I'm going to wear it.
Yeah, perfect. Good message. And what would be the key advice that you give to somebody who would say, I'm really stuck in a rut? I wear the same old all the time, and I'm fed up with the way that I look. We're just coming out of prolonged lockdown over here. We've been locked down for the best part of 14 months, a little bit of time out, but we have been in very serious long periods of lockdown. And we're just starting to emerge because we're all double vaccinated out into the sunlight and also into the world again. So if somebody is stuck in a rut, what would be your key advice to them to get to switch it up, change it up a bit?
I think the best thing you can do is ask a friend or maybe someone at a shop that you like, because a second set of eyes can be a whole different view. I think we tend to see ourselves in one light, in one way. And if we try something different on ourselves, sometimes we're like, well, that's not us. And I think part of the reason it's not us is because we haven't been wearing that. So especially if you're used to always wearing neutrals and you put on a bright, dress like this, it's going to be shocking to you. So of course you might want to work yourself into that a little at a time. But so we did this experiment when we were in lockdown last summer. We went to each other's, we were allowed to go to each other's house. So, because we were part of our family, and we went to each other's closet, and each of us styled an outfit for that person's closet, from that person's closet. And, so we picked out the things we wanted that person to wear. And of course they weren't things like, for my mom, I put her in jeans and a t-shirt, of course, something young with a vest and, cute shoes. And, and it looked great, but it was something she wouldn't have picked out. And so I think having a second set of eyes can give you a different perspective. And you just need to pick someone who you trust and you like, but you have to believe them too. If they tell you it looks good, you need to believe them, even if you don't think so, and try a couple of different things that way. Does that make sense?
It makes lots of sense. I think that's a really, really good advice. I about 3 or 4 years ago, I think, I got somebody that I know who's a style consultant to come shopping with me. And she picked out this really, really vivid, sort of almost neon pink. It was an Issey Miyake pleated. It's kind of like it's a sort of like a soft jacket type thing. Almost like a kimono,
Sure.
And she just picked it off the rail, and I immediately said, "Oh God, I couldn't wear that. No way. It's too bright. It's too this. It's too that. It's too the other." And she just said, "Just try it on. That's all I'm asking you to do." And I did put it on, and I did buy it, and I have worn it several times. It's one of those things that, for a special occasion, it just lifts the whole outfit, and I can wear it with a lot of different things underneath. It's one of those very easy garments that will never date, that will never actually, it will always suit me because it's forgiving and it's a great color. So I think your advice to take a friend with you, just to have a different pair of eyes, and maybe leave your husband behind. I haven't got a husband to leave behind, but I sometimes wonder with women, sometimes when I'm out shopping, I'll see the husband sitting there, and the wife is coming out of the changing room, and he's a bit grumpy, perhaps because he's
Now I will say my husband is very dapper. He takes our photos for the blog, and he's come a long way though. When we first started dating, he only wore ugly khaki pants and plaid tops. And, I started getting him other things, and he'd look at it and like, "Oh, I'll never wear that," but we'd buy it. And then he'd start wearing it and he'd get compliments on it and realize that, it looks good. I think a lot of times we get compliments on something that is different than our usual because it grabs people's attentions because it's not our usual. So I think it's nice to try new things.
I absolutely agree with you. I think it's really, really difficult. If I'm on my own, I go into a shop, I dismiss 3/4 of it. I walk past stuff. I don't even look at it. It's the wrong color. Oh no, I'm not wearing that. No, I couldn't wear that. No, that's not right. And then I select from this tiny little range of things. Mm-hmm. And then I bring it back and wonder why my wardrobe is full of the same things,
Yes, exactly. I tell my mom has 20 different white shirts. And I'm like, okay, you have enough white shirts, but they're a little different, she says. And they are, but no one else would notice that. So, let's try something different.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. I think it is very hard to make different choices for yourself. That's for sure. So your advice to take a friend, I think, is a good one. And I did have a question written down about your husband, because you've got a photograph of him on the blog, in fact, and he does look very dapper. And he's your photographer. It must be great to have somebody in the house who can grab a camera and take a good picture of you.
It's so convenient. I mean, I do have a tripod and all that, but it's much easier to have him. And he's very happy to do it. He doesn't get grumpy. He is so patient. And I'm very, very lucky that way.
Yeah, really good. So if anybody wants to find you, it's Jodie's Touch of Style.
It's
That's what they put into Google
Mhm.
search, and then how often do you post on that? How often do you update your do blog posts?
Usually I post almost 6 days a week.
Every day?
So almost, yeah.
Wow.
Leslie and my mom are one day of that week. One day of the week I usually show just selfie photos of what I actually wore during the week. And then I'll have, some other, either how to wear a shirt dress 5 different ways, or the other day I interviewed a friend who lives in an RV, which is a recreational vehicle. It's like a tiny house. And, so I try to, I push in a little bit of lifestyle things every once in a while too, just for variety.
Okay, well, that's so impressive. I think when people are committing to a blog, which is creating that level of content, that amount of content, that is such a lot of work, So absolutely, I'm full of admiration for you, Jodie, because I do think that that's a huge demand on your time. But you obviously enjoy it, and for you, it's a pleasure, which is really nice. A great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much.
yeah, it's been really nice. And thank you to everybody who's joined in on the call and for coming along. And see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.